But we have another similarly numbered and named presentations where we actually build these tables in Excel, practicing Excel music theory and table visualization skills all at the same time. Remember, our overall objective is to maximize the use of color to better understand music theory in general, to better create tools such as our fretboard helping us to navigate the fretboard. This fretboard having the low or heavy E string, the one closest to the ceiling on top. So we have two primary color systems. When we look at the fretboard, for example, with the points as a color system, we could tie the color to each of the 12 notes, each of those notes now being able to be defined, described by a particular color. However, we could also use a color system like the Nashville number system, which is tied instead of to notes to the relative positions. A note that if I map out the fretboard by distance, then we have the same collection of 7 notes could have a distance relative to each of the notes in the 7-note collection. And in essence, that's how we build our chords. So the second side, as you can see here, is tied to the perspective of the Ionian node, meaning this C is obviously 0 distance from itself, or a perfect first. And then if I go from this C to this D, then that's going to be what we call a major second, or I'd like to call it 2 notes away from the Ionian node, first modal half step, meaning we went 1 step up. And then from a scale degree, it would be a second or a major second. I know this 2-tone color gets a little bit overwhelming, but actually once you get used to it, it makes sense, because the color system is actually more clear than our naming conventions oftentimes in conventional music theory, because we have at least like 2 names and oftentimes like 3 to 4 names for the same distance. Well, the distance is the same in baseline half-step units. So if you just assign a color to the baseline units, then that's a functional way to see it. It's actually easier to see, and again, it gives us another dimension to be able to visualize things. So we're going to look at the intervals and map out our colors. So the points could be the notes themselves or the relative scale positions. That's the one that we're also going to use as a permanent system, similar to a Nashville number system on the number side of things, to apply to all 12 collections of 7 notes.